Let's make sure this is on. What's up? What's up? Happy Wednesday. It is Wake Your Warrior Wednesday. I'm Robin Tanner, and this is my podcast live edition of The Daily Fight. And if you are just kind of coming into my world and you're new, or maybe you don't even know that I'm doing this entire month, I'm showing up for you guys every single day, completely shameless. It's the unabashed challenge, which means this month we're focusing on doing something every single day for your future self without shame, without guilt, without fear. You are just jumping in, going all in, and you are doing it. Part of this is for me to show up for myself for my coaching program that will be kicking off September 3rd. It is called The Rise, and I'm super excited about it. If you want more details on it, go to robintanner.com/the rise waitlist, and then more details will be coming out on Monday. But if you want to get the early bird insider, like what it's all about, go check that out at the Rise waitlist. You can also go check out my quit quiz. It is robintanner.com/the quit quiz, and you should check in the show notes. If you're on Facebook or Instagram, I'll put it down in the comments for you, or you can just DM me show notes and I will send you the links because sometimes it doesn't get pushed out. So sharing this in your stories with your friends, that helps all of us out. And not just for me, for other business owners, entrepreneurs, people that have a message that speaks to you. I have a friend in the industry who is a marriage coach, a relationship coach. And she's put out some badass, Katie May, she has put out some badass quotes and statements and just thought leadership lately that I've been sharing because they're awesome. And people need to hear these things because you never know what it's going to spark inside of you or somebody else that just turns it a little bit and changes everything for you. And speaking of that, I want to talk about a client of mine who I've known for a long time. She's been a client for a long time. I think we're going on like 6 years. I do keep my clients confidential. Now, my one-on-one clients, it is a premium coaching program where we work through a lot of your hidden struggles and your dark truths, the things that like, hey, on the outside, I've got my shit together. I'm super successful. But there's an area in your life that you're struggling with that is a hidden pain and a struggle that is causing you turmoil on the inside or on the outside. A lot of times it will show up in our physical health, weight gain, health problems, all of the things. And then ladies, you guys are notorious for this, trying to place blame in your hormones or perimenopause or menopause, and we can blame it all we want. But if you're not dealing with your shit on the inside, if you're not facing those pains and facing your giants, healing from them, and I don't care how tough and badass and resilient and what a warrior you are, on the inside, we're all struggling with something. We all have wars within going on. Usually the biggest one is in our brain and in the beliefs that we have. A lot of times we're carrying around outdated beliefs that we have outgrown, relationships that we've outgrown, jobs we've outgrown, habits and behaviors that we've outgrown, but we're still in the habit of doing them because they're on autopilot. They're easy, they're familiar, they're not scary, but they carry a lot of internal shame and regret and resentment and bitterness. And all of that stuff shows up when you're not really releasing that. And we usually can't release it on our own. That's why I've been completely shameless about saying counseling and therapy has been getting me through my this period in my life where I'm at the 10-year mark of some doctor trauma, medical trauma, illness, and injury when I almost died 10 years ago. And it's brought up a lot of other instances in my life where actually my first brush of with death was I was bleeding out internally in college and didn't know it. I was showing up teaching my boot camp classes and I had an ectopic pregnancy and I was bleeding out. And a really good friend, my best friend at the time, we took me to the hospital. I didn't want my parents to know. I was so full of shame when I found out that I was pregnant at like 21, but then to find out it was a tubular pregnancy and it had ruptured and I was literally bleeding out. And these things didn't surface and it was emergency surgery or you will die, much less I wouldn't have my kids today. So I'm really grateful that these that therapy and those counseling sessions really bring up the patterns in your life, like why you have PTSD or guilt or shame or, panic attacks or anxiety or depression. When things start to come right, what the trigger word, I'm trying to think of, like, the word that, like, that's the fad word, right? Like these things trigger you, when really it's your past coming to go, hello, hi, and it's resurfacing. And if you don't deal with it, it will manifest in your physical health, in your relationships, and it will keep you stuck, and it will keep you settling in your suffering. And I am here to help the woman who is that badass, like this one-on-one client that I have, who is super successful in her career, who has a really good, healthy relationship for like one of the first times of her life. And she's overcome so much, and she's, got all the accolades and all of the accomplishments and all of the things, but she is done. She is done in the job that she is in, and she doesn't want to be there anymore, but it's safe to stay because it's financial security, because of the abundance, of the financial overflow that she has, because of the lifestyle, and because she's good at it. And she can get away with winging it, and she can get away with half-assing it. But the winging it and the half-assing internally is a struggle for her, because that's not really who she is. She's not somebody that wings it. She's not somebody that half-ass it. And so what it's doing is it's taking a toll on her, on other areas of her life. And we have discussed her moving forward into her future self and what that looks like, and what other career opportunities, maybe becoming an entrepreneur, starting something of her own, becoming self-employed. Just we've visited different ideas. And listen, guys, when you are creating your future self, when you are becoming somebody and evolving somebody, it's not something that you just like, you just hit the button and you decide to jump ship, and all of a sudden you're in a new job and you have this new life and this new lifestyle and everything is great. That's if that's what you're thinking, it's not, because it is a long process of really uncovering those dark truths and those hidden patterns that you have pushed down, because you are so strong and you are so tough, and you can put on your big girl panties and just kind of rhino your way through to the next idea and the next relationship and the next job and the next goal and the next accolade and the next step in the process. And we often don't want to sit with who we are. We don't want to sit with what happened to us, because we don't want to look weak. We don't want to settle, and we don't want to suffer. So I hope I'm speaking to the woman today to kind of show you that, like, how coaching, counseling, or therapy can help you uncover some of these blocks that we have. And one of the reasons why she doesn't believe that she can, go out and do this other thing on her own yet, is because she thinks she has to prove it to herself first. And here's the key. Here's the unlock. Here's the breakthrough. You don't get to prove it to yourself until you actually do it. So you actually have to do the thing before you get the proof. Now, you can look around at other areas in your life, and we've done that. We've picked out, like, hey, here's all the evidence that you are a badass, that you're not winging it, that you don't have imposter syndrome, that you're not like faking it to make it, right? Like, you have all this proof. You've done all of these things, right? Like, pat on the back, high five, gold star. But because you aren't actually showing up authentically as who you are now and who you know you can be, and there's a disconnect there because you're getting away with it. So the question today is, what are you getting away with, but is actually hurting you, holding you back, and keeping you stuck in that pattern that you say you want to get out of? So she wants to be able to show up for her future self, but she thinks she can't, because she feels like she's not fully showing up in her current role, in her current job, for her current self, for her current employer, for her current clients, right? And I'm sure this manifests, like, even into, she's a mother, she's engaged, like, she's got all of the things. But internally, we have to show up for ourselves. And in order to show up for yourself, you have to figure out that idea of future you, what she looks like, how she shows up, what her habits are, what she's dressing, how is she acting, and align yourself with that in the current day. And that is the gap. That is the forge. That is the refining process. That is the hard part. And that is the daily fight. That is the struggle. And all of those wars within, the more we try to push them down and ignore them and move forward past them, And I have another client that I'll touch on her story a little bit later this week, or maybe in a reel. The same thing. We have to honor those struggles. We have to surrender the past, but we have to honor the past. And we have to pull the pieces of us that were awesome and badass and amazing so we don't forget that. But then we also have to face that part of ourselves where we made poor choices or we aren't showing up the best that we know that we can, because you know if you gave all your effort, all your attention, if you can do more. I always talk about my clients when I was at the gym, and they would ask me when I was training them, should I do more? And the answer was, you already know the answer. If you think you should, you should. If you think you can, you can. So do it. It's never a matter of like, can you? It's will you? But you got to start showing up for you now. The fact that, and here's the flip side of it with the perspective a little bit deeper, the fact that she thinks she has to prove it to herself, that you've got to prove this to yourself before you actually do the thing. Like if you play that backwards, you'll hear it, right? You have to prove it first that you can do the thing before you actually do the thing. I think you have to do the thing first, right? Like you have to be it, you have to do it in order to have it. But we all want to have it right now. Right? We all want it right now. Instant gratification. Snap your fingers, magic pill, get the injection. Poof, you got a hot body. Everything is great. One counseling session and you think your marriage is fixed, or one counseling session and your doctor trauma is all gone. No, that's just the beginning. That's step one. That's going beyond level 0 of just showing up and walking in the door, right? Level 2 is then following up on it and digging a little bit deeper. So with her, it's how can she start showing up now? Not for her boss, not for her clients, not for her job, not for the money, not for the safety of it, not for the abundance of it, but for her. How can she show up for her? How can you show up for you now as future you? How can you align with that? How can you identify with that? And that's what coaches help you do, is fill in that gap and bridge it. Because otherwise you are swinging on that suspension bridge over a gorge of like a black hole of your pain and your dark secrets and your hidden truths, when all of this on the outside looks good. And if it doesn't look good and you're wearing the pain on the outside, which ladies, it shows up, right? It shows up in your eyes, in your face, in your body, whether or not you're looking at yourself in the mirror, or you're hiding from yourself, you're hiding in pictures, you're hiding in the back, right? You're hiding from social events, you're hiding from networking, and you might be hiding for other reasons, but it's typically because we're not showing up for ourselves because we don't have the self-belief or the self-trust. And that's because somewhere in our life, we're winging it. Somewhere in our life, we feel like we aren't showing up authentically. Somewhere in our life, we are lying to ourselves. So I want you to ask that today. And then here's the double whammy on the flip side of it. It could be that you've outgrown the relationship, that you've outgrown the job, that you've outgrown this body, and we need to shed some skin. And we actually do have to push the go button on the next life, that you actually have to go do the thing before you really not believe in it, but before you build the confidence and the courage to consistently show up like that. Otherwise, it's just an idea and a wish in your head. And I know I might be going like a little bit off here and a little bit too deep, but join the coaching program, right? Like if you are ready to get unstuck, to deal with these patterns that keep coming, if you are caught in a cycle, if you have these dark truths inside, this pain inside that nobody else can see, then the rise is for you. We're going to go 16 weeks head to head, and we're going to face those things head on together as a group. And I also have a private edition for it. So, but if you've outgrown the relationship, if you've outgrown the job, if you've outgrown the identity, right, this might be a sign where you're not showing up authentically as you. You're not showing up with your best effort and your best energy. You're not showing up with your best ideas or creativeness or all of the things, right? Because you're not meant to anymore. You're meant to go. You're meant to jump. You're meant to take the leap. You're meant to go. You've hit your ceiling here, and you're meant to go to a new floor and start fresh and start with a new idea, with a new belief, with a new attitude, with a new energy, with a new job, with a new relationship. And I'm not saying leave something behind and jump ship before, but this is if you're in an identity foreclosure. And because we've coached through this and we've expressed like she's done with her job, she's ready to go. She's just not in it anymore. And she really wants to do something on her own, which she's more than capable of building, right? She has the intellect and the capacity for it and the logic for it and the credentials and the street cred and the education and all of the things for it. But what she doesn't have is the self-belief and the self-trust. And that's what we've got to build together. That's what we're forging. That's what the rise is about. That's what the coaching is about. As a good coach can see that potential and help you have these breakthroughs. And these breakthroughs don't happen every session, every call. Every time you walk in, you don't walk out like miraculously like a new person with new ideas. And they don't always work either. But sometimes if you can't show up with the best piece of you, it might be because you're showing up in the wrong room. You're showing up in the wrong, relationship, the wrong job, the wrong everything. And you're meant to show up for yourself in your way and embrace who you are meant to be, even though you're not that person yet. That's what the daily fight's about. That's what your future self is. That's what the rise is about. Releasing the pain of the past, turning it into power. So you've got inner peace with yourself. I hope this helps somebody today. My badass women out there, you can still be badass. You can still be brave. And the bravest way to do that is to face those inner demons, is to face your giants, is to expose those dark truths and the hidden struggles. And I'll tell you right now, I'm building this badass army of women, and we're going to build it from the ground up, who are not afraid to expose them, who are ready to be in a room full of women who have high ambitious and audacious goals, but who also are willing to be honest and authentic with themselves first, because you cannot show up to the rest of the world if you're living a lie. All right, that's my time. Have a wonderful, amazing, whatever day it is. It's Wednesday. See, I've already forgotten. I will see you back here tomorrow. Peace out. Let me know if this speaks to you. Please share it. Comment below. And again, go take my quick quiz and go check out the Rise waitlist. Everything is robintanner.com/quick quiz or Rise blah 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 Rise waitlist. And I hope I made you laugh. I hope I made you think. I hope I challenged you, called you out, and called you up. Peace out.